you should understand something. The Concord maintains that the events contained within this archive never occurred. Several of the witnesses are officially deceased. Others were never found. A number of locations referenced in the following record no longer exist. The Mnemosyne Archive neither confirms nor denies the authenticity of recovered materials. You are advised not to form emotional attachments to any personnel contained within this record. You are advised not to trust every witness. Most importantly, you are advised to remember what others choose to forget. Archive designation: Crown of the Concord. Recovery begins now. Mnemosyne Archive. Classification: Omega Archive. Reference: Crown of the Concord. Status: partial recovery. Origin source remains disputed. Several records contained within this archive have been reconstructed from fragmented mnemonic echoes, damaged command logs, and witness testimony. Chronological continuity cannot be guaranteed. Personnel identities may be incomplete. Certain events referenced herein remain under active review. The Mnemosyne Archive advises caution when interpreting recovered material. Memory contamination incidents have been documented. If at any point you experience recurring symbols, impossible geometries, unexplained auditory phenomena, or persistent recognition of locations you have never visited, continue observation. Beginning recovery. Archive opening. Crown of the Concord.
ShatterFall 50K. Crown of the Concord. The Fall of Oravane Spire. A Concord Fleet thriller. Written by Praxion Malkador. Read for the Mnemosyne Archive. The crew stood arrayed upon the phase dock, their ranks etched in black and gold, armor and uniform glimmering faintly beneath the shifting pall of a green nebula. Beyond the towering hangar screens, the firmament moved with the slow majesty of fate. A swollen gas giant, blue and vast, encircled by a ring that was once bright as the crowns of kings, but now lay dimmed. A ruin of stone and shadow adrift in silence. The port itself clung beneath that broken diadem, anchored in the shadow of the world. Its girders reached outward like the ribs of some fallen colossus, an ossuary of steel and purpose. And above, at intervals sudden and stark, the ring broke open with lightning. Sheets of white fire jagged through the black, illuminating the gathered sailors as though they were already judged. The light came and went, quick and merciless, leaving afterimages like scars. And behind them all, watching like a god asleep, loomed the vessel. Nuln, Crown of the Concord. A leviathan wrought in black steel and dull auric trim, her surface not wholly of this world. Upon her hull were glyphs that bent perception itself, marks that would not remain steady when looked upon, as though they remembered other truths than those of the waking lattice. She was not built to voyage through the stars. She was built to slip beneath them, into places that had no map, no sky. The sound came then, deep and resonant, carried by the all chorus. It was a voice of iron and echo, amplified through the cavernous dock. It was not merely announcement. It was liturgy. "Crew present and accounted for, Commander." The answer came as thunder. "Little shards." The commander stepped forward, light from the broken ring sparking white across his face. "There is turbulence in the veil," he said, voice a low bell of iron. "So they called us. They called this ship! And we go now beneath the skin of worlds, in a vessel wrought not merely of steel and power, but of silence itself. A craft that erases her own shadow from the memory of things." He let the words fall, heavy as anvils. "We are armed beyond reckoning. We bear fracture fire enough to burn 1,000 histories. And yet all this stands for a single oath: to guard the Concord." Lightning split the ring again, white knives through the dark. His eyes caught the glow, and he seemed for a moment something other than human. "We are the first wall. We are the last wall. There is nothing behind us but ruin. I demand your best, and nothing less. For anything less, the veil itself will unmake you before ever I could." He paused, and silence held, deep as drift space itself. "This may be the Primarch's fleet." His voice dropped, low and dangerous. "But this is my phasecraft. And you will keep in cadence with me. If you cannot, that strange sensation you'll feel at the base of your spine will not be my boot, but drift space itself peeling you apart. Silence swallowing you whole." No one breathed. The crew stood like carved stone. Then, as though struck by a single unseen hammer, the cry went up from every throat: "Hail Nuln! Hail Nuln! Crown of the Concord!" The dock shook with the force of it, and above, the ancient ring tore open again in lightning, casting them all in white fire. The name right. The commander descended from the prow altar where he had delivered his charge, the echoes of the crew's cry still rolling like storm in the ribs of the port. His boots rang upon the iron decking as he turned and beckoned. "Varric." The officer stepped from the line, crisp and unhesitating, his face lit by the pale green wash of the nebula and the white flare of lightning from the broken ring above. He followed the commander back toward the podium, each step an ascent into judgment. The great vessel loomed behind them, black and gold, as though listening. And then, as though on some unspoken cue, the light shifted. From behind the commander, a crimson tide unfurled across the hangar wall and view shield, a rolling surge of red radiance drawn from the giant's ring or sparked from hidden emitters deep in the dock. It bled like a storm front spilling in silence, casting every polished helm and plate in scarlet. For a breathless moment, the crew seemed drowned in it, submerged in a sea of blood and fire. The red wave rolled forward, washing across the assembled ranks, and then began to fade, retreating, dissolving back into the green pall of the nebula. The afterglow clung to the eyes like memory, leaving them marked by the color even after it was gone. The commander mounted the dais again, haloed by the last edge of crimson, and the name-write began. "Officer Varric." "Yes, Commander." "You are aware of the name of this craft, aren't you, Varric?" "Very aware, Commander." "It bears a proud name, does it not?" "Very proud, Commander." "It represents a people who survived the shatter and who still carve their will into fractured space." "Outstanding, Commander, in the greatest lattice of worlds that remains." The commander's eyes burned like coals in the strobing light. "And what is that name, Varric?" Varric's voice came out hard as iron striking an anvil, and every man and woman in the hall felt the weight of it. "Nuln, Crown of the Concord, Commander." The commander raised his hand. "And what do we say?" Varric turned, his voice a shout that ripped into the silence. "Hail Nuln!" And the crew answered in one thunderous voice, a wave breaking against eternity. "Hail Nuln!" The chamber quaked with the cry. Lightning cracked across the old ring again, and for a heartbeat, the ship herself seemed to blaze white against the void, as though the Concord had been written in light. The commander's voice rang once more, the final stroke of the rite. "Chief of the Concord, dismiss the crew. Crew, dissolve to stations." And like a tide breaking upon the shore, the ranks broke and flowed. Officers and sailors peeling away into the arteries of the port, each bearing the echo of that name within them like fire. The last cry of the crew still clung to the steel, echoing like thunder bottled in the ribs of the port. Then came the silence, as the Nuln herself prepared to move. The vast clamps disengaged one by one, each metallic release ringing like the tolling of cathedral bells. Through the hangar screen, the nebula wheeled in its slow dance of emerald fire. The gas giant turned, a colossal eye veiled in blue, its dying ring crackling again with jagged veins of lightning. For a breath, it seemed as though the heavens themselves resisted letting this vessel go. Qualification for command. The commander held out the small token, a relic of command, heavy in the hand. His voice carried like iron drawn on stone. "Here, part of your proving. Breathe it deep, the last taste of the open lattice, unbound and clean. Soon you will draw only from the ship, and the ship will decide what air you keep." He paused, letting the truth of it settle. The men and women listening knew it was no jest. Once the hull closed, the ship itself became judge and warden of breath. Every inhale was hers to give, every exhale hers to take. The commander's eyes flicked to Eric Vayner, measuring him. "This is my favorite part, the slip. Right here. Right now." "Bravo, Vayner. You knew to shut up and watch the drift fold. Most egg scryers want to chatter it away. Your stock just rose a point. Advice: if you ever want a phase craft of your own, the worst thing you can do is worry about yourself or try to impress me. I cannot stand save selves, and I will not abide kiss selves. Keep your priorities straight, your mission and your kin." The descent. Then the order was given, clipped and final. "XO, take her down." "Take her down, aye, Commander." "Sounding, 130 echoes. Lookouts, clear the bridge. Officer of the Concord, prepare to slip. Commander down. XO down. Submerge the ship. Phasecraft, submerge. Make our depth 150 strata." Chief of the Watch on the all chorus. "Drift, drift. Oh, hear us when we cry to thee, for those in peril in the deep." The ship hums, steel groaning as reality folds inward, and the crew feels the world fall silent. The phasecraft shuddered, every rib of her black hull groaning. From her flanks vented plumes of pale light, like breath exhaled into the void. The stars outside wavered, blurred, and the nebula itself seemed to ripple as though it were a sea, and the ship a leviathan sliding beneath its skin. The green fire of the heavens dimmed, replaced by a deeper shadow. Shapes that were not shapes flickered at the edges of sight, half-formed geometries gnawing the periphery. The air in the bridge thickened, charged with unseen weight. Crew stood stone still, hands to controls, eyes on instruments, but each felt it in their bones: the descent. The hymn rose in answer, not sung by any one voice, but by all, men and women low and steady, their chant threading into the groan of the ship's passage. Ancient words, Concord's covenant. "O hear us when we cry to thee, for those in peril in the deep." And so the Nulm slipped into drift space, a vessel not of the stars, but beneath them, a shadow beneath the lattice of worlds. The light of the living universe faded behind her. Ahead lay the black ocean where maps failed, where gods whispered, where even memory drowned.